Hello, everybody. Welcome. I see everybody is coming in to the webinar. So I just want to welcome everybody here. We're just going to take a minute to let everybody join. It takes a few minutes to get everybody in the queue. So we're just going to let everybody come in and join. If you would, I would love to just know where you're joining from. So type that in the chat for us. Let us know where you hail from. I always like to see where I live in Scottsdale, Arizona. That's where I'm residing right now. So I just wanted to, let me know where you're coming in from. Australia, beautiful. Austin, Texas, Tampa, Nashville, Atlanta. We've got Melbourne, Cape Coral, England. It's 1 a.m. Jordan, you get a gold star for the day, girlfriend, for being up. Oh my goodness. You need your sleep, mama. We got Dallas, Texas, New Hampshire. Where else? Falkland Islands, bottom of South America. I know the Falkland Islands, Roxanne. So welcome, welcome. Batavia. Oh, Pamela, I went to college in Naperville. So right around the corner from Batavia. I went to North Central College for a couple years. Oh, Jordan, you're so sweet. She says we would miss it for the world. Also, same time for Hive. Oh my gosh, I know, Jordan, I'm killing you. But good news, we're going to do this again next month with a different topic. And next month's workshop is going to be at noon. Noon Pacific time, which is 8 p.m. your time. So we can have a glass of wine together. How do I mute on your end? Shannon, you are muted. Everybody is automatically muted. So don't worry about that. And then when it comes time to talk, we will unmute people. And hopefully I will know how to do that. That's a lot of pressure to unmute and mute. It's a lot of pressure to run tech and talk to you all and make eye contact with the camera and go through the slides. So I got my work cut out for me. But you're all in listener mode. So if you're, doing something, typing on a keyboard, which you shouldn't be, but if you are, don't worry, we're not hearing any background noise. So let's go ahead and get started. A couple housekeeping items as we jump in here. Erin Amani, who is soon to be a new mama, is going to help me. She works on my team. She does all my visuals and social media for me. She's absolutely amazing. So she's going to be answering questions in the chat box. So if you have questions for me along the way, easy questions for Erin, go ahead and just put those in the chat box. Now, when it gets to the coaching part, at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A box, and I'll show you that when we get to it. If you have questions for me about the conversation, you're going to want to put those there. All righty. And you can always put them in the chat, and Erin can always cut and paste them over. So if you're not sure where the Q&A is, don't worry about that. We'll get it all worked out. We're here to make this work for everybody. So I am going to take my face off the screen, and I'm going to share my PowerPoint with you all. So here we go. I just want to make sure that everybody can see. Erin, can you just text me and make sure that we're recording this as well? If you would, just give me a thumbs up via text so I know that we're recording this. Okay, so we're going to get started, and I want to welcome you guys this evening to Did You Know There's a Right Way to Praise Your Kids? Yeah, I'm excited to have you all here. Yeah, one last housekeeping item. When you put something in the chat box, just make sure, if you will, please, that you select all panelists. Let me just show you this. Let's see, let's just pause the share for a second here. Let me just show you this. Over here, there's a button called all panelists and attendees. Just click that, because if you only send it to me, Erin won't see it and she won't be able to answer you, because I'm not looking at the chat. I can't look at the chat and do the presentation. It's just too much for my brain. So don't just send a note to me, otherwise no one will see it, including Erin. So just select all panelists. And then Diana's asking, will there be another way to listen to this? And that's a great question. Thanks for asking that, Diana. Yes, everybody who signed up for the recording, whether you're here or not, tomorrow morning you're going to get a link to the audio version of this and the video version so you can watch it again. So don't worry about taking, you know, copious notes. You're going to get this again. You'll be able to start and stop it and go back through it. Okay, that should be good there. Let's go back to the PowerPoint and share that. Here we go. So my commitment to you is I'm going to teach you as much as possible in the next 90 minutes. We're going to get off the phone at 6:30 my time. Nothing I'm teaching you today is based on theory, and everything you learn has been tested and proven to work. And what I'm going to ask of you, you know, I know that you don't have a lot of time to waste, so I'm going to go quickly and teach you as much as possible. I'm going to be looking down at my notes while I'm also looking at you guys, because I don't want to miss anything. It's far more important that I make sure I cover everything than it is to maintain eye contact for 90 minutes and prove to you all that I can memorize things. So I'm going to be looking down quite a bit, but also looking up as well. So what I'm going to ask of you is if you could put all your distractions away and focus on this, that would be great. Try not to multitask, because again, I'm going to go really fast and I don't want you to miss anything. You know, there might be something really, really critical here that could completely change the dynamics in your family. So I ask you to not multitask. Don't be scrolling Facebook while listening to me in the background. Truth be told, the brain doesn't learn that way. If we're passively learning, it really only learns when we're in active mode. And if you stay till the end of the presentation, all of you who are here at the 90-minute mark, you're going to be entered into a drawing for an amazing prize. So I'm just going to encourage you to stick around. We'll do the drawing right at the 90-minute mark. And I have time to stay later if a couple of you want to ask questions, but if you can just stay till 90 minutes, we'll do the drawing at that point. All right, some of you know me really well because you're clients or you're in one of my classes, or we do one-on-one coaching, or you're a member of the Hive, which I'm going to explain later. But some of you, maybe this was a recommendation from a friend, or you saw it on Facebook and you joined it and you have no idea who I am. So let me just take a couple minutes to explain to you a little bit about myself and also why I'm qualified to talk about this topic and other topics related to our family. So I am a mom and a wife. My husband has the glasses on. My son is the tallest person in the picture. He's 15 and his name is Malcolm. He's a freshman in high school. I got switched on to mindful parenting when he was about 6. I am a master certified parent coach, and I work with clients to move away from threatening, yelling, and punishing, and moving into deep connection and cooperation with their children. I basically help you stress less and enjoy parenting more with success. I've written a book. I am also a speaker, and in a former life, I was a venture capitalist, and I only mention that because I don't think there is a profession that is further away from being a parent coach than venture capital. They are like the antithesis of each other. And so I bring this up because if a venture capitalist can get switched on to mindful parenting, whatever you do during your day, you can make the transition too. So this is a copy of my book. Many of you found me through my book, The Angry Parent, How to Find Peace in Your Parenting Through the Message of Anger. So that's how a lot of people find me, through Facebook. And I want to tell you just a little bit about my journey because it's relevant to what we're going to talk about today. So, you know, prior to becoming a parent coach, as I mentioned, I was an executive in a medical device firm. I was also a co-founder of a VC firm, and professionally, I was at the top of my game. But personally, I felt like I was failing as a parent. I was miserable. I was guilt-ridden. I had no idea how to do this correctly. I grew up in a really dominant yelling household. I like to say if yelling were an Olympic sport, I would come from a dynasty of gold medalists. And I swore that if I ever had kids, I would not treat them the way I was treated. I would not scream at them constantly. I would not intimidate them. And then here I was with this 5-year-old little boy, and I found myself doing the exact same things to him that I swore I wouldn't do. And it was like a diet. Every night I went to bed, I'd wake up the next morning, I'd say, today's the day I'm not going to yell. And by 5 o'clock, I was yelling at him, drinking Chardonnay or both. And I just couldn't figure out how to do it differently. I had all the desire, but I couldn't quite get myself there. And I had this epiphany one day. He was, again, about 5. I think he was about the age he is in the bottom picture there. I was yelling at him, he was yelling at me, I was yelling at him for yelling at me. And I was thinking to myself, who taught him this? And then it dawned on me, I taught him this. And I just didn't know how to break out of it. My husband and I were not on the same page. I felt disrespected all the time. I was exhausted, and it felt like there was no cooperation in our home. And one day the solution, I sort of dropped to my knees and begged the universe for a solution, and it fell into my lap. And I found out about mindful parenting, and I immediately became a student. And I just absorbed every piece of information. And I got so excited about the transformation that we had in our family within the first couple of weeks that after a few months of this, I ended up leaving my job and training to become a parent coach. And, you know, I feel like this was my mission in life. People used to talk to me about missions and I would roll my eyes at them. Like, you know, they would talk about their calling. I found my calling and I would sort of roll my eyes, to be honest with you. And then I experienced it myself. And through my transformation, I learned that there's a new way to parent strong-willed kids that created mutual respect for both of us. And I learned techniques to take us away from yelling, confrontation, and towards cooperation. And I learned how to stay calm even during my son's worst outbursts. And that taught him how to stay calm through modeling. And I learned that connection creates cooperation. So I focused on the connection first so the cooperation could follow. And today, our house today, there's very little yelling. We can talk about anything. We can set limits. There's respect. My husband and I have gotten on the same page, which took a lot of work, by the way. And I really enjoy my son. I enjoy spending time with him. I enjoy parenting. And I want this for all of you. My son came home from school today about 20 minutes before I jumped on this workshop. And I just was so happy to see him and spend a few minutes with him. And I really want this for all of you. And I want you to know that it's possible. That's, if nothing else, the message I want you to take away from this. So on today's agenda during the workshop, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to teach you about growth versus fixed mindset. I'm going to answer questions that you might have or any coaching you might want. I'm going to tell you about how you can take this work deeper into the next level if you'd like, which is my monthly membership program that I call the Hive, and I'm going to invite you to join. And if you don't want to join or you can't join, that's totally okay. I want you to just sit back and enjoy the workshop. But whether you're watching live or watching the recording, I just want to extend an invitation to you and let you know about the Hive because I know what it can do for you and your family. And so I just want to make you aware of it. And then I'm going to go back to taking some more questions and we'll get you out of here at the 90-minute mark. So here's what we're going to cover tonight. We're going to talk about when we praise effort instead of results, we create passionate, unstoppable learners. We're going to talk about how with passion and focus, any talent can be developed, any. We're going to talk about how effort or lack thereof drives improvement. And we're going to talk about what we can do as parents to bring growth mindset to our families. So again, if you have questions, we're going to answer these later, but you can start posting them if they come up for you in the Q&A box, okay? So what is mindset? Well, mindset is how you think about your abilities. So we all have talents and abilities, capabilities, abilities, talent, and mindset is how we think about them. And most of what I'm talking about tonight comes out of the work of Carol Dweck. Carol is a psychiatrist and researcher at Stanford University. And Carol's done a lot of work on growth and fixed mindset. She has a book out called Growth Mindset that if this area just completely fascinates you and you really want to know more, you can buy that book. She also has a pretty well-known, multi-million watched TED Talk on this. And I will link that in the email when I send you guys let me just make a note of that. Or Erin, if you can write that down and text that to me to remind me, I will link her TED Talk in the email that I'm going to send you all with the link to this replay. So you can watch her TED Talk if you want. So Carol Dweck has done, I think, 30 years of research on growth versus fixed mindset. Now, let me say this. Most of her work is research is based on teachers and the classroom. And her work is really about how to get teachers to how to get teachers to rethink their language in the classroom. But I think I got switched on to her work when Malcolm was about 6, so about 9 years ago. And what I've learned is that this work needs to really not only be in the classroom, but in our homes, because we are the biggest influencers on our children. We are the primary educators. I believe that to the core of who I am. And I believe that as we model and talk to our children and model our mindset, they pick up on that. So we're going to be talking about 2 different kinds of mindsets tonight. There's fixed mindset, and people with fixed mindset believe talents and abilities are inborn and carved in stone. However you're born, you're born. You're born a singer, you're not a singer. You're born good at basketball, you're not good at basketball. You're born good at math, you're not. So that's fixed mindset, and that's who we don't want to be. Growth mindset people believe that success is a result of effort as much or more than aptitude, or said another way, abilities can be developed. So here's some examples of fixed mindset. And these all pertain to me, by the way. This was when I first got onto this work, I realized all of this. So I grew up believing that I wasn't good at foreign languages, that I wasn't athletic, and that I'm so short, I shouldn't play volleyball, even though I loved the game. Right away as a kid, I was told, you're not coordinated. And so I grew up believing that I absolutely wasn't coordinated. And I can tell you today, I have been doing CrossFit for about 10 years, and I'm pretty damn coordinated. I just had a fixed mindset about it. I was also told at a very young age that I couldn't carry a tune. I have a very deep voice, as you guys can witness, and I was told that I couldn't carry a tune. So I never even bothered to try to sing. And I was told that everyone in my family goes into the sciences. So I majored in science in college and found out I really should have been like a coach because I'm so much better at it. So after learning the fixed mindset, I can totally see how the idea that my talents were God-given were really ingrained in me. And this does not serve us or our children. And as parents, we can unknowingly, we can send the fixed mindset message that says you have permanent traits and I'm judging them. So as a kid, I felt like my uncoordination and my lack of ability to carry a tune, like my parents had just decided this, and it was communicated to me, and it was like, that's it, Lisa. There's no point in getting singing lessons. Ironically, I have a friend who at age 30 left his job to become an opera singer, and he could not sing at all. Of course, he started out small, taking lessons in the evening, and now he's like a very well-known opera singer in New York. So we can learn anything at any time. But what you try to teach your child, this is really important that you understand this. No matter what you try and teach your child, no matter what, if their mindset is fixed, it's hard to change, especially if you experience a lot of success and praise in the beginning. So if you have a kid, and we're going to talk about this more over the course of the workshop today, but if you have a kid that comes out of the gates really strong, like is just amazing at math, and my son fits this bill definitely. He's always been incredible at math. And now he's a freshman in high school, and he's taking honors math as a freshman. And the teacher is like maxing these kids to the wall. I mean, this class is hard. And thank goodness my son has a growth mindset, because if he had a fixed mindset, he would be completely lost in this class. Because if something's always easy and you get praised for your talent, not your effort, and I'll explain this even deeper in a minute. It is really, and if you have a fixed mindset, here's what I mean. If you're told you are amazing at math, like that's fixed mindset. It's developed. You're just automatically good at math. It's not because you're putting in the effort or you have an interest in it. You were born good at math. And then you get to freshman honors algebra, and all of a sudden you're getting C's in the class. That fixed mindset is going to completely freak you out, and you're going to want to quit math because I was told I'm good at this, and all of a sudden I'm not good at it. So what's going on here? So that can be a showstopper for our kids. And I'm going to talk more about how to think about this and how to repair this as we go on. So a growth mindset sends the message that this is the message when we have a growth mindset that we're sending to our kids. You're a developing person. I get that you're growing and developing over the course of your childhood, and I'm very interested in your development. I'm not interested in the fact that you've gotten all A's in math up until now. I'm interested in seeing where you can take this if this is of interest to you. So, you know, I grew up in a fixed mindset household where I believe these statements as truths. You're not, because you're 5'3", you can't play volleyball. You're not a good singer. You're not coordinated. So singing and playing volleyball went completely out the window. And then you'll see people in the world who have a growth mindset and they're not held back. I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple years ago, UConn women's basketball, my son's a big basketball player, so I sort of live in the basketball world. A couple years ago, UConn women's basketball was undefeated for like 3 years in a row. And there was a girl, ironically, that was 5'3" at Mississippi State. And she took the winning shot at the end of the game and it went in. And they ended up beating UConn by 2 points. You know, she was someone who believed that she could do this even at 5'3". She had a growth mindset. Some other examples of growth mindset people are, you know, like when a 23rd rank in the world tennis player comes in and plays a #1 ranked player and beats him in the US Open. Or, you know, someone like Tom Brady, who at 42 years old is, you know, winning Super Bowls and having 16-2 seasons. Tom Brady has a growth. I'm a big Tom Brady fan, by the way, huge Patriots fan. So don't be typing any smack in the chat box about my Patriots. But you look at Tom, he epitomizes growth mindset because most football players are told that past the age of like 35, you're done. And so they just start thinking about retirement. And Tom, man, he is in the prime of his career right now. So that's another great example of growth mindset. Another example is, politics aside, someone like Bill Clinton, who grew up, you know, with a single mom household, super poor, you know, going on to believe he could be president of the United States. You know, that is a total growth mindset, and not believing like, well, because I came from Arkansas and was poor and went to a state school and, you know, had nothing growing up, I can't be president. Okay, so back to my son. When my son was little, in about 2nd grade, when I got switched on to this, the #1 thing he hated, and I mean hated, was he hated not knowing things. He hated failing. He hated looking like a failure. He hated being behind. Like in the 2nd grade, he would, or 3rd grade, if there was a test being taken and he saw other kids finishing up, he would rush to finish because he didn't want to be the last kid to finish. And I'm telling you, my husband and I mean, it hurts to say it out loud, but we totally taught him fixed mindset early on in his life by overpraising his results. Oh my God, you're so smart. You're so amazing. You're so good at this. Look at you. You're so talented at math. It comes naturally to you. And honest to God, we totally thought that we were doing the right thing. I mean, I grew up in a home, I was thinking about this a little bit ago. I grew up in a home where there was no praise. The praise in my home was the absence of criticism. And if you can relate to that, give me an amen in the comments. Like seriously, just give me an amen. Because I want to just stop and look here for a second in the comments, because I just want to see how many of you can relate to that. So, you know, I grew up, yeah, I'm getting a couple here. I totally grew up in a household where there was no praise at all. And so what I thought was, oh my gosh, when I have a kid, I am going to praise the crap out of him. And so I did. And I really believed in my heart of hearts that I was serving him and that I was doing all the right things. And it turns out I was creating a fixed mindset kid. And the results that I could see is just this kid who was really hard on himself and who just like, he couldn't handle not being the best. He just couldn't handle it. So let me tell you how Carol Dweck, one of the groundbreaking studies she did. So she gave, I think it was fourth graders, I'm not sure of the exact grade, but kids around 8 or 9, she gave them puzzles to do. And what she did is she gave them like a 5-year-old puzzle to do. And they did that first. So obviously every kid who's 9 could do the puzzle. So they all did it in seconds. And then she gave them, the next puzzle she gave them was exponentially harder than the first puzzle. And what she learned is that the fixed mindset kids were much more reticent to do the puzzle as soon as they saw it, because they were told after they completed the first puzzle, oh my goodness, you're so good at this. And they didn't want to look behind or stupid or like they didn't know what they were doing. And the growth mindset kids just saw it as a stepping stone to the next challenge. And I can tell you that when I learned this, I was shocked, and it really hurt me to believe that I was, holding my kid back by overpraising him. But it's really true, I was. So the good news is people who believe their abilities can be developed have a growth mindset. And according to Dr. Dweck, growth mindset kids believe the goal is to learn at all times, at all costs. Like it's all, the prize, if you will, is in the learning and the growing, not in the prize. So said another way, the prize is in the journey, not the destination. So let's talk for a minute about, I've alluded to this a little bit, but where does the fixed mindset come from? Let me relieve all the guilt and anxiety any of us might be having. Well, for a lot of us, it comes from our own childhood. Maybe we were praised in this way by amazing parents, or maybe we weren't praised at all, and that really hurt us. I always felt disconnected from my family because it always felt like whatever I did wasn't good enough. And I swore that if I had kids, I would not want them to feel bad about their accomplishments. So I really gave this praise like the old heave ho. For a lot of us, likewise, we didn't experience a lot of praise when we were kids, and we just don't even know how to do it. What I do know is that we're all trying to do the best we can, and we love our children and want the best for them. So just know that I know we're all coming from that place. And, we might have grown up in homes with 2 working parents that spent a good amount of time on our own. And, many of us have what we have today because we weren't praised as a kid, or we had this hunger and this grit, and we dug deep to figure it out. And yet, we may want to give our kids that praise that we feel like we didn't get. The danger is, and this is really true, and this has been proven over and over and over again, and Dr. Dweck talks about this in her TED Talk, is that the current generation of new workers out there, so the 20-year-olds, really, they need constant validation because they have this fixed mindset. Employers report that many young employees can't get through the day without an award. And this is the whole generation of making sure that, there's 9th place awards in the soccer tournament, or that every swimmer gets a medal around his neck, and the 9th place has to be the same size as the 1st place. So there are definitely some downsides to fixed mindset. Okay, so I think we beat that. So let's get on to how do we switch to growth mindset? How do we speak that? Well, we make sure that we're praising wisely is really what Dr. Dweck recommends. So we don't want to praise intelligence, talent, or results, because those imply that it's fixed and there's no room for improvement. Okay, because this leads to kids that don't want to look behind or unsmart, so they don't try. Instead, what we want to praise is the effort, the progress, and the strategy. So let me give you some examples. So listen for the message in the following examples, okay? So these are sort of the old school praises. So see if you can find the fixed mindset praise in all of these examples, okay? So the first one is, you learn so quickly. You're so smart. I'm sure we've all said that. Look at that drawing, Dad. Is he the next Picasso or what? I certainly had said that when my kid was little, especially about basketball. He showed some natural talent very early on. Again, my son's been playing since he was 6 years old. And we really praised this, like, oh my goodness, he's going to be the next Kobe. You're so brilliant, you got an A. And sometimes we might even say, you're so brilliant, you got an A without even studying. And if you're like most parents, you hear these praises as supportive, esteem boosting messages, right? But if you listen more closely, see if you can hear another message. And that's the message that our kids hear, right? So that example, you learned that so quickly, you're so smart, is really, they might interpret, if you don't learn quickly, if I don't learn quickly, I'm not smart. So something that takes a long time to learn, they could be frustrated with and turn away from. Look at that drawing, Dad. Is he the next Picasso or what? The child could hear, I shouldn't try drawing anything hard because they'll see I'm no Picasso. So then they stop challenging themselves. Like, I have to keep drawing the same type of drawings over and over again because I'm supposed to be this Picasso, and I don't want to show that I'm not. I imagine a lot of times as adults, if you've heard of imposter syndrome, it probably comes from this, from having this part of fixed mindset. You're so brilliant, you got an A without even studying, right? The message our child gets is, I better quit studying or they won't think that I'm brilliant. So here's some more examples of fixed mindset. You're really smart, meaning like you didn't have to put any effort into that at all. Things come easy to you. So again, anything that comes hard is going to be really challenging. You aren't a good reader. That could be a fixed mindset statement. I knew you didn't study enough. I had a feeling you weren't going to get a good grade. Or I had a feeling you were going to get a good grade. That can go either way. No one in our family can sing. He just isn't coordinated. I'm really disappointed in your grades. So let's stop here and do a check-in. Oh, wait, I have a couple more examples for you. Fixed mindset could say, are you sure you can do it? Maybe you don't have the talent. Growth mindset would be, I'm not sure if I can do it, but I think I can learn with time and effort. Or let's say, you have a son that's like the first season of soccer, he's 5 and he's sort of uncoordinated and he's bummed and dad's bummed. The conversation could be like, hey, you may not be getting after it now, but if we keep working at it, coordination will come. Because of your effort, coordination will come. So coordination is not something we're born with. It's something that comes from hours of practice. Another one might be, what if you fail? Or your son says, daughter says, what if I fail? Growth mindset would be, most successful people have failures along the way, right? I certainly have learned in the last 10 years that success is born from many failures. And if you haven't had some failures, and believe me, folks, I've had my share, you are not learning. If you don't try, you can protect yourself and keep your dignity. If I don't try, I will automatically fail. Where's the dignity in that, right? So that could be one. This would be a snap if you really had talent. That is so wrong. Basketball wasn't easy for Michael Jordan, and science wasn't easy for Thomas Edison. They had a passion and put tons of effort in. So again, we want to, stay really focused on the effort. If you face criticism and your child says, it's not my fault, it was someone else's, then we could tell them, if you don't take responsibility, you can't fix it. Let me listen, however painful it is, and learn whatever I can do. Okay, so now I want to do a check-in. I'm just going to pop over to the chat and just see if you guys want to make any comments. So this is where I want to just see if, I'm trying to stop share this. What are you guys feeling so far? Oh, I like that. I'm not sure. I like that, Rosie. Fail, first attempt in learning. Yes. Okay, what else? Anyone else want to make any comments? Or you guys, success is available to us at any age. I've started to change my language. You said it. Yes, Audra. It's so true. And you know, I tell myself all the time, failure is the road to success. The really successful people of the world, entrepreneurs, athletes, actresses, CEOs, successful, you know, people have had a lot of failures along the way. And if you're at the top of your game, you cannot show me someone who has not failed 100, 1,000, a million times. Oh yes, Shannon's asking what's the suggestion when child blames something on someone else. I am definitely going to get to that in about 3 slides, Shannon. So I'm glad you asked that. Diana's saying I'm feeling like I definitely an overpraiser. I know, Diana. I had no idea. I had no idea. I totally thought I was doing the right thing. And then I found this work and I was like, oh Lord, I have really screwed this up. Okay, Wenz is saying we can't see some of the comments. Please make sure you have selected panelists and attendees. Yeah, make sure you're selecting perfect. Yes, Diana. But the good news is, let me just say this here. Kids have a lot of neuroplasticity, which means they can learn quickly. My son, I'm going to show you guys a slide in a minute, but we got switched on to this growth mindset and the change happened so quickly. It was crazy. So don't feel like, oh, great, Lisa, you've just made me feel bad about my parenting. Because I'm going to show you what to do, and I know you're going to be able to do it, and your kids are going to adapt quickly. So Shannon, this slide addresses your question. So fixed mindset kids, so this is some of Carol Dweck's work. She worked very closely with an affluent school in Chicago and then an inner city school in Chicago as well. And what she found is that fixed mindset kids who failed the test, so they created a test in this affluent school that the kids did, and they gave every kid a failing grade, no matter how well they did on the test. And then they measured their response afterwards. They interviewed all the kids, and they asked them how they thought they did. And then they determined whether the kid was a fixed or a growth mindset kid. And what they found is that kids that had fixed mindset who failed the test, remember everyone failed, reported that next time they were going to try to cheat on the test rather than study harder. Because remember, they believe the talent is innate. They don't feel like they can grow and overcome the challenge. So they reported they were going to either cheat next time. These were high schoolers, by the way, so they had a fairly developed brain. Or she found that they would find someone who did worse than them so they could feel good about themselves, or they would run from the difficulty and blame someone else. So the cheating example is pretty explanatory. But the second one, find someone who did worse. An example of that would be like a kid who says, well, 2 kids did worse than me on the test, including my friend Sarah. So, you know, and I found this with my son early on. He would get in the car and he would say, you know, I didn't do great on my reading test, but Colin, you know, or Andrew did worse than me. He definitely fell into this category, which I have to say, ironically, would drive me insane when he would say this, because my mind would go to, he's not taking responsibility. If he doesn't, like, I would completely get triggered by this and just go to crazy town on this thing, not realizing the genesis or the origin of this. And then run from difficulty and blame someone else. An example of that would be like, well, I didn't do well on the test because my teacher didn't cover what was going to be on the test, right? So that happens a lot too. We hear that from our kids. They blame someone else. You know, we got home late and I couldn't study, or my teacher didn't share with me, or so-and-so didn't get me the study guide. So these are clues for you. I share these because I want these to be clues that you have a fixed mindset kid. Okay, so what can we do as parents, right? I don't like to just pitch the problem to you guys. I want to make sure you know what the solution is in addition to the problem. So let's see. I have a quick question for Aaron. Oh wait, no, forget that. Let's not do that. Okay, so what can we do as parents? Well, there's 4 things we can do. I'm going to go through each of these in detail. Okay, so as parents, we can praise wisely. We can manage our attitude around mistakes, which I call the culture of mistakes in our home. We can model a growth mindset for our kids. And you can start out by modeling the shift for your kids. And you can adopt a yet mentality. And I'm going to explain that to you. But in summary, that is, rather than saying, I'm not good at singing, it would be, I'm not good at singing yet. And I'll give you the background on that when we get to it. So praising wisely, remember, is praising effort, focus, strategy, persistence, or progress. So I have a client who emailed me yesterday to tell me, or a couple of days ago, that her daughter admitted to her that she had not been doing what she asks when she leaves the room. So if the mom says, put your shoes on or don't jump on the bed, the mom leaves the room and the daughter jumps on the bed. And the daughter admitted this to the mom. And, you know, there's definitely, I think, some growth mindset in here in terms of praising the daughter for coming forward and being honest, and then talking about progress. How do we get you from not listening to me at all, and then listening to me and admitting you, or not listening to me and admitting you didn't listen, to getting you to listen, right? How can we go through that continuum? Because remember, childhood is a dry run for adulthood. So how can we make the effort? How can that client encourage her daughter to focus on getting it right? I mean, not getting it right, that's fixed. To focus on the effort of listening and then following through. And when we praise our kids on effort, focus, strategy, persistence, or improvement, we're raising hardy, resilient kids that can overcome anything and that believe they can do anything. You know, there's a part of me that's like, hey, I'm in my 50s, but maybe I could learn to sing. I've lately been looking into taking some private singing lessons. Like, is this possible? Now, I don't necessarily think I'm going to be on American Idol next year, nor do I really want to. But I would like to have a singing voice. I would like to be able to belt out a tune and not be horrified, you know, at church or wherever that people are going to be cringing around me. So I want to believe that I'm hardy and resilient. And I will tell you, being a coach and an entrepreneur who's running her own business at home, I've become very hardy and resilient, focusing on my effort and not my results. So, you know, FYI, this applies to us as adults as well. And when we focus on praising wisely, we create learners that are not afraid to do the hard puzzles. They're just not afraid to try new things. And, you know, isn't this what we want? Not only for our kids, but for like young adults. I mean, if your child's in college and they realize they majored in the wrong thing, we want them to be able to course correct. If they're unhappy at their job, we want them to feel like they're capable of making a change. If they dream of being a CEO in a company and they started as the customer service manager or the receptionist, we want them to feel like, you know, they can do anything. They're hardy, resilient, and they're not afraid. So we want to make sure that we're praising wisely. So again, some examples are, you know, you really put effort into that test. Wow, you know, so your kid gets in the car and says, hey, I got an A on my biology test. You don't want to say, wow, that's amazing. You're so smart. You want to say, you know what? I watched you put all that effort into studying and it looks like it really paid off for you. Or I've really watched you, you know, go out and work on your soccer game in the backyard. You know, and as a result of your effort, you have had improvement and scored a goal in the game, or almost scored a goal in the game. Or, you know, I'm noticing that you've really been committed to practicing your flute every day. And as a result of the effort you've been putting in, I can hear you getting better. Now, let's say you're going through flashcards with your kid right before a test and they get one wrong. I actually want to encourage you to celebrate that. Celebrate their mistakes. Like, oh, this is so great. We found one you got wrong. Let's work on a way to remember that. Because now, like, they're finding joy in finding out what they don't know and creating a strategy around what they don't know so they can get better. So I'll give you another example. My son got in the car the other day. He had a biology test. And I majored in biology in college. And Malcolm thinks that he's very interested in biology. So he gets in the car. He had his first test, beginning of high school. He gets in the car and I said, well, how'd the test go? What do you think? He goes, Mom, it's the hardest test I've ever taken in my life. I said, really? That's so exciting. He goes, yeah, right? I said, yeah. I said, tell me about it. He goes, well, I really don't think I did very well. And I don't think I studied the proper things. I said, okay, let's debrief. Let's break it down. Like, the test is over. You're going to get your grade. You're going to find out how you did. But regardless, get out a piece of paper and let's take notes about what in retrospect now you can do differently for next time, because the next hard test is right around the corner, be it in biology in 9th grade or another class in 10th grade or the SAT to get into college or classes in college. Like, I guarantee the next hard test is coming. So let's build like a protocol of what you know and what you need to be doing. And we just started breaking it down. He was like, well, I read the chapter early on, and then I read the chapter again the night before. I think I need to be reading it 10 minutes every night. We talked about making flashcards, how writing things out embeds into the medium memory part of the brain. Like, we just had this whole debrief, and there wasn't any focus on the grade. And it turns out he got a pretty poor grade. He got like a C- on the test, but we didn't focus on that. We focused on the effort, because if he puts the effort in, the grade will come along. I don't see he can focus on the grade himself and decide what he wants to make that mean. But I want to put all of my focus into the effort. Okay. So that's step one. Step two, managing our attitude around mistakes. This is a really important sentence. So I want you all to hear this. What really, and research shows, this is not me, this is research from Carol Dweck and her graduate students and other people, show what really influences our kids' mindset is the parents' attitude towards failure. And this was my wake-up call. Let me just be totally open and honest with you guys. My husband and I used to believe that you were winning or losing. And second place was what's the saying go? Second place is first, last place. I think that I forgot the saying now because we don't say it anymore. But we really, failure, was a demon, and we felt this about ourselves, and we, really wanted our kid to be the best. And I think that we showed him our disdain for failure. And he quickly picked up on this and just learned that it's unacceptable. And so I want you to really be aware of what is your culture in your family of mistakes. When we train our kids' brains to respond to, when we respond to failure with, I don't know if I've said this correctly in this sentence, but let me tell you what I mean on the second bullet point. When we respond to our failures or our kids' failures with panic, stress, or fear, we train them into a fixed mindset. And instead, we have to create a culture where mistakes, where the culture is mistakes, or where the learning takes place. So in our family now, we say you're either winning or you're learning. There's no losing. And we've really come to embody this and really believe this and teach this to our son. When we say to our kids, a mistake is a failure that causes us parents to jump in and fix it, we drive them closer to a fixed mindset. And, what would be better would be to say, oh, this is an interesting clue. Now I understand an area that we need to focus on. This is a skill that needs attention. When we work on that, we have a growth mindset instead of a fix. So even back to the example I gave of the mom whose daughter admitted that when she leaves the room, the daughter admitted she doesn't listen. The mom could jump in and panic and say, I need to fix this. Or the mom could jump in and say, you know what? Clearly, this is an area that we need to work on. We need to develop that when you've made a commitment to me, you follow through. Or that I need to make sure that you understand what I'm asking of you. And if you're not following through, we need to talk about why so that I can better understand this. So again, I said this earlier, but childhood is a dress rehearsal for adulthood. So this is really about growth and development, right? So that leads me to ask you, what is your culture around mistakes at home? How do you react when there's spilled milk, or the kids aren't ready for school, or there's a missing assignment, or a late homework, or a low test score, or your kid's performance, in front of, at a restaurant, or in front of grandma, or at a birthday party, or on the court, or in the field? So let me just, I want to stop the share here for a second, and I want you guys to just type in the chat, if you will. And this is a shame-free zone. I'm not judging anybody. This is a place where we can come and grow and learn. Tell me what you think your culture of mistakes is currently in your home. I'd really love to just, get some ideas going here. And again, this is just an opportunity to learn. My culture at my house before I got switched onto this was just, I was like, wow, who knew? I thought I was doing all the right things. I thought I was teaching my kid to be, like take no prisoners and get it done and achieve more and strive hard and be everything you can be and be everything I wasn't. So I was spending half my time overpraising his results and half my time like fixing things and jumping in and panicking and, oh my God, we got to get all over that. And I just realized that it wasn't serving him and it wasn't serving our relationship. So let's see, someone said, I overreact to spilled milk and being late in the morning compared to low test scores. Yeah, it's kind of all, it's whatever our trigger is. Yeah, so someone else said good with school, not good when there's laziness or spills, right? So, again, Carol Dweck's work focuses mostly on the classroom, but I feel like there's a lot going on at home too, in terms of spilled milk or shoes not being ready. Like if we get so rooted in like, oh my God, why are you not ever ready? Why can't you do this? Why can't we get this right? That just gets our kids grow up feeling like, oh, I'm lazy, or I can't get it right, or I can't, I realized recently my husband tells my son all the time that he's a dawdler, because man, my son, he takes every second to get ready for something. And I keep telling Dave, like, we got to stop telling that to him, because that will become his identity. I'm a dawdler. The truth of the matter is my son's prefrontal cortex is just not developed yet. Like he just can't put all the pieces together. By the way, the prefrontal cortex and executive function isn't fully developed until 26. But my son just can't quite get it all together to realize, like, he just doesn't have an urgency around time. And freaking out on him about it isn't going to teach him. It's just going to convince him more that he doesn't have an urgency around time. So, yeah, so someone else said my fixed mindset says failure is not an option. Right. So to that parent who said that, that feels good to us in our minds. I get it, because I used to be that way. That's well said. But then I think what we teach our kids is not to take any risk, right? Because failure is not an option. So I better not, if I'm a drawer and I'm used to drawing stills, I better not try abstract because I might fail. If I am doing ballet, but I really kind of might want to try hip hop dance, I better not try that because I might fail. Or if I've done basketball my whole life and suddenly I want to go do singing, be in the choir, or if I've always done regular algebra and my guidance counselor suggests I try honors trigonometry, I might immediately reject it because honors, I don't know, I might fail. And so when we say failure is not an option, we're raising kids that really can't take any risk. And risk is where the growth is. Just a silly example came to mind. My son this morning, I took him to school and he didn't ask me for any money. And I was like, well, I guess I decided not to offer it for school lunch money. And I'm like, well, I guess he's going to figure this out. And he got home today and he's like, Mom, I didn't eat lunch today because I didn't have any money. And I was like, well, I keep telling you to, get everything ready the night before. And he's like, yeah, I think I learned that lesson today. And I didn't need to make him feel bad about it. But I also, I wanted him to fail a little bit so that he could grow. Okay. Exhaustion from not being heard. Yeah, Melania, I just also want to say I have this great, amazing video, and I don't know if Aaron can find it for us on YouTube and put it in the chat, but I have this great video that I made called How to Get Your Kids to Listen the First Time. And so she can share that with you, and that might help a little bit. Good with spilled milk, getting ready, etc. Behavior, leaving play dates, leaving grandma's, I lose it. Yeah, so Nicola, so it's just a matter of going, okay, my kids don't have the skill there yet. You know, whatever's going on for you, like, oh, I just need to teach them that. We need to work on that together. It's hard co-parenting with a fixed mindset. Yeah, Lindsay, and I think that's all the more reason to make sure that you get a growth mindset and that you really work on it in the time that your kids spend with them, and maybe even talk to them about it. Maybe even tell them, like, look, I'm going to, bring this new philosophy into the home, and I understand that at dad's house this may not be how it is, but it's all the more reason that we need to practice this. And I would teach this to your kids and encourage them to call you on it and you call them on it and really work with them. My son recently told me he was stupid for not knowing something. Is this overpraising? It could be. It could be. Yeah, it's definitely a fixed mindset. Yeah, so let's see. This is a good comment. Diana said, I think we all have high expectations. So when grades are lower, assignments are not turned in, we are constantly on our kids to be on this and get stuff in and done. It's hard on me when I know they can get good grades. Right. So the point, Diana, in that is to focus on the effort and not the grade or the assignment, right? So the effort would be, what do you need to get your assignments turned in on time? What do you need? What system can we put in place? I know that you're capable of putting the effort in. It's all about focusing on the effort, not the result. Yeah, so Leah says, easily frustrated toddler doesn't listen in the morning, running late, overpraised when he finally listens. Yeah, you just want to make sure you're overpraising the effort. That he did it, you figured it out, you put your shoes on. That's so, you want to praise the effort and the strategy rather than the fact that the shoes are on. Mark said, I need that video. So Erin just popped it in there for you guys. Don't watch it now, please. Don't leave me. I should have had her wait till the end. Stay here, because remember, I've got a prize at the end for all of you that are here. And we've got just a few more slides to get through. Okay, I'm going to go back to the presentation. That was great. That was good conversation there. So thank you guys for sharing all that. Okay, so culture of mistakes in your home. I mentioned in our family, we've adopted winning or learning. There is no losing. Okay. So we also need to be mindful of what we model for our kids. This is also really important. Like, what do you model for them? What are you showing them? Because what I know for 100% true is our kids don't do what we say, they do what we do. So an example is, how do you speak about mistakes that you make? Because if you're hard on yourself and mistakes are unacceptable and, I have to be the best at everything, your kids are picking that up for themselves. So that's really important. And, think about how do you feel about mistakes? Are they allowed? And do you criticize others? And how do you debrief after a mistake or a failure? Do you go on and on and on and on? Do you say things about them? Again, no judgment, but it's just the idea of, you want to be really, really, really mindful of what the mistakes are, of the culture of mistakes in your home, and make sure that you're consciously shaping it to the culture that you want. This had a huge impact on my family. I mean, and my husband was not on board with this until I started talking to him about, what is our culture of mistakes? And we started enacting the growth mindset. And very quickly, we saw an immediate shift in our kid and just how he thought about himself and the risks that he was willing to take. It was really pretty cool. So I'm going to throw this in and talk about this for a moment. Take a guess is one of the best tools you can use with your kids, especially if they're stuck in a fixed mindset. Because when we say to other human beings, take a guess, It feels free. And I really like take a guess when we're talking about feelings. You know, I'm big on feelings and needs. Underneath all behavior is unmet feelings and needs. So if you ask your kid, and I really believe this growth mindset applies not only to activities, but feelings, you know, creating an environment where it's safe to have your feelings. So fixed mindset might be, I can't share my feelings at all because they might be wrong. Growth mindset would be, well, I think I'm feeling this. Let me work it out. Let me see. So if you're making the transition with your kids, or you're debriefing with them, or you're asking them how they felt about something, and they give you the I don't know, which is like a 9-year-old boy's favorite sentence, I don't know. And it usually goes like, oh no. You could say, take a guess, because a guess will feel free to them. Like, oh, she's not going to hold me to this. I'm not going to get it wrong. And so a guess helps them feel like I can swing the bat at the piñata, and if I don't hit it, it's okay. I'm going to get another turn. So tuck that away in your toolbox. Take a guess and remember that. So growth mindset kids engage deeply, process the error, learn from it, and then correct it. Okay, so that's kind of when, again, they engage deeply, they process the error, they learn from it, and then they correct it. And this is how we're going to make progress at not spilling milk. You know, so it might be like a conversation about why did the milk get spilled? Well, the glass was too full. The cup was too close to the edge of the table. You weren't paying attention, right? You know, after we're done drinking, we need to push the cup up behind the plate, or you overfilled it. You know, like my son used to fill it to the very top, and then he would pick it up and try to carry it. And then, you know, we would talk about it like, okay, what went wrong here? Well, when anybody fills a cup, it wasn't just him. So I got a cup one day and I filled it up to the rim, and I showed him that when I pick this up with water and I try to carry it, it spills. So what would be a better idea would be, you know, I talked about the meniscus and the weight of the liquid and how it sloshes out of the cup if the cup is tipped and it's full. So then we talked about what would be a better idea would be get a bigger cup and fill it halfway, right? What would be some other solutions? So this is sort of an example, since you guys wrote spilled milk so much in there, or spilled drink. This is an example of getting our kids switched on to growth mindset, of focusing on the strategy and how to do it differently so we're not spilling the milk. Because it's a pain to spill it. Then you've got to stop and clean it up, and then I get upset, and then you might be upset. Then you have less to drink if it's your favorite drink, right? So we want to talk about what are the results of the spilled milk too. Okay, so back to my son. This is a fact. Every time we push out of our comfort zone and try something new, this comes from, again, Dr. Dweck, we create new neurons and new neural pathways. So I don't care how old your kids are right now, 2 to 22. This is sort of your get out of jail card for guilt, right? You can change this right now. And I love Maya Angelou's saying, once we know better, we do better, right? So you can, at any point, create new neural pathways in your brain. And as we repeat the effort over and over and over again, the connections get stronger and we get smarter, right? So my husband and I rewired our brain to praise our son's effort rather than results. And it wasn't easy, but the process felt so much better. And I know it's ultimately supporting my son to be anything he wants to be, which at the moment is a basketball playing engineer who sells real estate and moonlights as a YouTube sensation. So that's my son's latest dreams right now. So the last way we can help our kids is to become a generation of not yet parents. So there was a case study done in a inner city high school in Chicago where instead of giving a failing grade, they gave a not yet grade, right? You've not yet passed math. You've not yet passed PE. And this really helped the kids strive towards wanting to pass things. So instead of I failed, you know, the idea is to say not yet. So you add this to the end of a sentence, like I'm not good at math yet, instead of I'm not good at math. And you also in the not yet area can show your kids examples, right? So if my son said, you know, I'm not good at biology, I could talk about how, you know, in 4th grade, he wasn't good at math, but he kept working at it and working at it and working at it and developing the skill. And now today he's in honors math. Or I could talk about how far he's come at basketball in terms of being able to drive down the court to the hoop and score a layup about 98% of the time. because he figured out a strategy to do it. And so we can take those same principles of figuring out a strategy and how to study for biology, right? And so we can show our kids other areas as showing them that they can make progress. And, you know, doing all of this not only benefits our kids, but it keeps our anxiety low and it increases our connection with our kids. So I want to get to coaching and some more comments in the chat section. So I'm just going to keep going right now because I'm mindful of the time. So I want to just go to this next section of today's workshop. And I want to tell you that, you know, if I know nothing, I know the path to peaceful parenting doesn't happen overnight. And it takes practice to implement new tools and a new way of parenting, like the growth mindset. And I know that's why you guys are here tonight. That's why you paid the money to grab a seat in this workshop, either to join live or to watch the recording. I know it's why you opened my emails and you bought my book and you showed up tonight. You're putting your effort into watching the workshop. It's because you want to find a new way of parenting. And what I want you to know is that even small steps forward increase our awareness, small little itty bitty steps. And small steps can result in big shifts in the relationship with our children. So as you begin to implement this growth mindset and make baby steps, let's say you just remember one thing out of this workshop, just one little nugget that you take back to your family, big shifts can happen. And every step we take towards increased peaceful parenting brings us exponentially closer to deep connection with our kids and peace in the home. What I also know is that we're not meant to go it alone, which is one of the reasons that I'm going to keep offering these workshops every month. You know, it used to be 20, 30, 100 years ago, we had a tribe of people to back us up that we could turn to. And these days, most of us are going it alone, especially if we're single parents. And, you know, we're meant to have wise, experienced guides walk us through struggles, whether it's a toddler's meltdown or a tween's sassy attitude. Give me an amen if you've got either of those in the chat box. And without a safe place to sort through our challenges, we may do nothing at all, hoping the situation will resolve itself. However, what began as a small issue can become a full-blown problem, right? A bossy child starts losing friends, our kids start pulling away because we're constantly losing our temper, you know, situations like that. So I've created a way for you to have regular access to a practical guidance and support, a safe haven where we can resolve issues together before they become full-blown problems. So if you're looking for more help, tips, ideas, support, coaching, and community, I want to just take a couple minutes to tell you about the Hive. I feel like I would not be doing you a service if I didn't share this amazing program with you. So the Hive is a monthly membership program where you have instant access to a private, like-minded community of support, love, and encouragement. And in fact, there's a couple Hive members. I recognize a couple people that are in the Hive on the call tonight. So if you guys want to say anything about the Hive, feel free to chime in and add something. So what happens in the Hive is you have 4 monthly coaching calls, one each week with me, certified parent coach, not some stranger on the internet. I absolutely can't stand to see people taking advice from others that they don't know how qualified they are to give the advice. So we get on the phone or internet just like this using Zoom once a month, a different time each week. So no matter where you live, no matter what time zone you are, you're guaranteed 2 calls during your waking hours. And we do this. We talk about topics. You come live onto the call and get actual deep coaching with me where you and I talk back and forth. And if you can't be there live, there's a replay that you can watch or listen to, and you can submit your questions ahead of time to me. So the way I want you to think about this is at any point in your month, you're 7 days away from getting on the phone and talking to me, an amazing certified master parent coach, if I might say so myself. And you can talk through what's going on in your family and what you need help with. And again, if you can't be on the call, you can email me ahead of time. We're having our next Hive call tomorrow. And I've already got a few emails from people that can't be on the call, but want me to answer their question. You also get, as part of your membership, you get exclusive access to courses, coaching, and other programs. So I do this workshop every month, and all the Hive members get to come to the workshop included in their membership price. And any courses I launch while you're a member of the Hive, you get free access or access included in your membership fee into any courses as well. So I'm always providing content that helps you transform your coaching. And the way I want you to think about this is it's sort of like the Netflix of parent coaching, right? It's there if you need it, but you're not obligated to turn it on every night. So sometimes people get busy or they're in a good place with their kids and they may not need to join in. So you can just, patiently wait until you need it. I don't expect you to be at every call, attend every course, come to every workshop. But if and when you need it, it's stored inside a classroom. You can go access it at any point. So if something comes up and all of a sudden you realize, oh, I need Lisa for this, I'm either 7 days away, or you can go access a previous call that you can listen to for advice and input. And I have a few surprises along the way, but they're good surprises. And the good news is you can try the Hive, and if you decide you don't like it, there's no obligation. You can cancel it anytime. So I am offering a special pricing to you all for attending the workshop. This will be good for a limited amount of time. But if you want to join now and get in on the special pricing, it's $37 a month, which I think is an absolute steal. My business coach, my accountant / business coach, cannot believe that I'm only charging $37 for this. So it's either $37 a month or $370 for a full year. If you pay for a year, you get 2 months for free. And once you join at this price, your price is frozen forever as long as you stay a continuous member. So, this is like a shirt at Target, or this is like 2 trips to Chipotle, or 3 Starbucks a month, maybe 4, let's say, depending on what you spend. To have a parent coach in your back pocket that you can access at any time to help you on this parenting journey, so that you have tips and ideas and community and support and coaching. It's absolutely incredible. Now, I do want to warn you, the Hive has the power to change your life, create better connection with your kids, generate more peace in your home with strategies and tools that can make you feel superhuman, and has the power to make you feel fully capable of rocking your parenting. So of course my headphones are dying, so I need to disconnect from those. Switch to regular microphone. So Aaron, just text me in and tell me for sure that you can still hear me. I want to just make sure that the audio didn't go away. It's the problem with AirPods. They only last about an hour. Okay, so just let me know that you can still hear me, Aaron, if you will, please. Okay, so what we covered tonight is we talked about praise, effort, results. We talked about how to create passionate, unstoppable learners. You guys just tell me in the chat box, can everybody still hear me? Okay, good. I just want to make sure you can hear me. I don't want to be chatting away here and all of a sudden I went away. We talked about how with passion and focus, any talent can be developed. We talked about focusing on effort or lack thereof drives improvement over results. And we talked about what we can do as parents to bring the growth mindset into our family. So what I want to do now, let me just go back for a second and say, I hope that what you all felt from the information about the Hive is that I sincerely would love every one of you to join. I over-deliver. It's an amazing program. And whether you're watching the replay or here live, I really want you to feel a personal invitation from me to join. And it's because I thrive being in community with you all. And I want to help you get the family you've always dreamed of. And I know through the Hive that is absolutely 100% possible. Okay, so I really want you to feel it, not as a salesy spiel, but like I really care about you, because I do. And I really want you to come and give it a shot, because I know what's possible when people come and join this community. It is an amazing group of like-minded parents, judgment-free, tons of support. We work on getting you the family you want. And it's just, I just love it. It's like my favorite thing that I do. And I want everybody to know about it and join. That's all I can say. It comes from a really heartfelt place. All right, I want to answer some questions. So if you guys want to post questions for me in the chat, do that, or you can put them in the Q&A.
And also, I would love to, we're about 15 minutes away from the drawing. So this is perfect. Hang out if you can. And ask me questions. But the other thing I'd love to know is, tell me 1 or 2 things you're taking away from today's workshop. And if you're watching this replay, feel free to send me an email at support@thepeacefulparent.com. You can also, even if you're watching live, you can send that to me afterwards. The reason I want you to write this out is because when we write something out, it stores in the learning part of our brain that we can access, that can become a habit. So the more you guys, the more you write things out, the better chance you have of retaining it and putting it to use, which is why I want you to take a minute and write the top 3 things that you've learned. Okay, let's see. Wen said, learn not to try to overreact at mistakes. Yeah, so ironically, Wen's, as you know, what you need to do is move from fixed to growth mindset over that, right? I'm gonna put the effort into trying rather than expecting myself to be perfect. And the more you work on that and model that for your kids, that I'm making an effort, the more you're actually modeling growth mindset for them, which is kind of the irony. So Wen's, tell me, how old are your kids? I would be interested in knowing that. Let's see. Audra said, takeaways. Use take a guess as a tool and praising the effort. Beautiful, beautiful. Lindsay said, my kids didn't need to know it's okay to fail. Yeah, and you know what, Lindsay? Sorry, I know I keep shaking my desk and the camera's shaking. Hopefully I'm not making you all seasick. You know, one of the things, Lindsay, that I didn't mention, I should have, I'm glad you brought that up. Share with, and this is to all of you, share with your kids. Sorry, I have a little itch here all of a sudden. Share with your kids your failures. I talk about my failures all the time to my son. I want him to know that I don't think I'm perfect, or that I'm not kidding myself, you know, that I'm not perfect and that I don't think I'm perfect. So I will share with him like, oh, I burnt dinner tonight, or I was late getting there, or I screwed up that talk, or I had to, you know, call today with a client. Well, I don't really talk about that, but like, oh, I put out an idea for a course and no one signed up. Like, I try to show him little and big failures so that he can see, because he looks up to me and he loves me. And that's part of the culture of mistakes, is being open and talking about our failures so our kids can see that they're not like a dirty little secret. I don't ever remember anybody in my family talking about their failures. So I, of course, never talked about mine. So Lindsay, I'm glad you brought that up. What are your efforts? Okay, here's a question. Let's see. Leah asks, what are your efforts about rewarding effort with a new toy, ice cream, candy, getting to watch a show? Our 4-year-old had a serious regression in her potty training. She's talking back, throwing tantrums. Our frustration is all-time high with twin 18-month-olds and working full-time. Yeah, I think, Leah, the real question is, what is the regression about? What is the unmet need underneath the behavior? So I would want you to work on that. I think at 4 years old, I'm not super excited about rewards, but if they get the job done, I think they're okay. But really the work is to try to figure out what is the need. Because if you take care of and this is a whole different webinar, which I could do, but if you take care of the feelings and needs underneath the behavior will take care of itself. So that's sort of what I have to say on that. Diana said, focus on strategy and effort. Yes, Diana, yes, that is awesome. Shannon said, as a family, we need to discuss our culture of mistakes. 100% yes. Taking a mistake and using it as an interesting clue and something we need to work on. I love that. I assume it's Roxy, but Roxanne, to talk through our mistakes. Yes, Roxanne, I love that. Focus on strategy and effort. Crystal, have difficult conversations, or having difficulty getting my 3-year-old to listen, even with your strategy for listening the first time. Learn to praise the effort. Never realized I should focus on that instead of the outcome. Great, Shannon. Yes, focus on the effort, because that's what she can keep going back to. And that's what will stick in her brain, is the effort. Because if you focus on the result and she's afraid she can't get it right, then she's not going to try. Like, here's a great example for a 3-year-old, Shannon. let's say that you have a pair of shoes, and on Monday they're Velcro shoes, and she gets them on, she feels really good. And then on Tuesday, and this may not be a 3-year-old example, but just sneakers that need to be tied, or there's a pair of shoes that are maybe harder to get on. They're new and they're tighter and they're not as slip-on. Maybe the first pair of shoes literally are slip-on. They're like slippers. And the second pair is like a Velcro that she needs to do over, but she doesn't think she can do it. Then maybe she won't even want to try because she doesn't think she's going to get that praise from you. So then she dawdles and doesn't get the shoes on. And then you get frustrated because she's not ready, right? That isn't a good toddler example of something. So focus on the effort. Can you try to put your shoes on? Can you put the effort into getting your shoes on, honey? Can you give it a try? And if you can't, come find me and I can help you. The praise needs to be in just giving it a shot. So there's no fear of failure, right? It just came to me. I like that. That's a good one. Okay. Wen said nearly 15 and 17 and I yell a lot. Okay, I want to go back up to your, yeah, so try not to overreact to mistakes. So one of the things I really want you to do, Wen, is, I can't decide if your name is pronounced Vens or Wens, so that's why I keep hesitating, but I'm just going to go with Wens, and if I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. But what I want you to do is sit your 15 and 17-year-old down and talk to them. Like, look, I learned that, you know, we need to be talking through our mistakes. So if I start to yell, call me on it. Say growth mindset, and I'll stop myself. I'll stop yelling because I got to grow on that. I got to learn how to do that. And then we'll talk through the mistake. And I'm going to also be sharing with you guys my mistakes and what I'm doing wrong and how I can do it better. Okay? Do you like that? How's that sound? Mark said, I can fix my previous mistakes, and there are lots of them. Yes. Listen, I'm like the queen of mistakes here. Oh, Lord. But I don't fear it anymore. And now mistakes and I have a great relationship, because what I know is, you know, like I put something out recently and no one bid on it. And I was like, okay, well, my people don't want that. They want something else. I put out this workshop and hundreds of people signed up. So like, okay, if I'm not making any mistakes, it means I'm not trying. And so that's been really my kind of beacon, if you will. And I've come a long way with my relationship with mistakes, a long way. Okay, let's see. Ellie said, or Alyssa, I can't see your name and full name. I just get like the first 3 letters unless I hover over it. So Alyssa said, adding yet to the end of a sentence when they feel they are bad at something. Yes. Oh my goodness. So whoever wrote earlier, I can't go up and find it, but someone wrote, my kid said he was stupid at something. Go back and find out what that is and teach him. No, honey, you're not stupid. You're just not good at it yet. And we can work on it. You can get great at anything. So instead of saying you're stupid, why don't we just say, I'm not good at it yet? You know, listen, I've decided that I want to, my son is trying to put on muscle. He's eating ferociously right now as a freshman in high school. And I've decided I'm going to learn how to bake like apple bread and banana bread. And because I want to make this, I found this super easy 4-step recipe. I want to make it a couple times a week and always have it around the house for my family. And it just be something that he can grab a slice of it out the door in the morning and go. And again, this recipe took me 7 minutes to make it. So I made my first loaf yesterday and I burned the bottom. And it was funny because I got it out of the pan and I cut the bottom off and we're still eating it. But, you know, I burned the bottom. I probably have the rack down too low. I'm not a baker, I'll be honest. But I've decided to be great at banana bread. And I'm going to be great at it by putting in the effort. In the past, I would have made 1 loaf and went, oh, see, you're not a baker, Lisa. You can't bake. And instead, I made it yesterday and I was like, okay, you're not good at banana bread yet. I wonder how many loaves it's going to take to get great at banana bread. Remember that old lollipop commercial? How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Pop? The owl would ask that 1, 2, 3, and then he would bite it. You know, so literally yesterday I was like, I got it out. I saw I burnt the bottom. I was like, okay, you're not good at it yet. but I'm going to get great at it. I may not ever be great at cheesecake or carrot cake or cookies, but I'm going to be great at banana bread because I'm going to put the effort in because I like where this is going for my family. And I literally thought to myself, I wonder how many loaves you will make until you get great at banana bread. So we'll see. I'll report back. Yusu said, use of growth mindset applies to emotions as well. Absolutely. I'm so glad you got that out of this. Wen said, that's good. We tend to try to be perfect. Let me tell you, there is no value in showing your kids that you're perfect. They either think you think you're perfect, or they think they either think you're perfect, in which case that's a high bar for them to live up to, or they think you think you're perfect and they know you're not, which leads to disconnection. So create a culture of mistakes where you can talk about your mistakes in your household. Like, it's okay. I don't need to raise this bar so high that you feel like you can't share your failures with me, because that's where the growth is. Okay, Diana said her son has anxiety and also a perfectionist, so he tends to give up on something if something seems hard. His teacher also picked up on this. I think that's why I tend to overpraise. My daughter is quite advanced, but I don't tend to overpraise her. Yeah, okay, so the perfectionist thing, we've got to get yet into the vocabulary, and we've got to praise the effort, because the effort is where he's going to get great at things. And I would have lots of conversations with him about this. You're welcome, Shannon. Oh, okay, Wendy, sorry. I've been calling you completely the wrong name. Oh, that makes me laugh. See, I made a mistake, and I'm not even going to feel, I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm going to correct it and move on. How do you recommend getting hubby on board? Mine rolls his eyes when I tell him something new I've learned regarding parenting. Yeah, that's a tough one, Roxanne. I've lived that, believe me, especially when you announce to your husband you're leaving your career to be a parent coach, and he's like, a what? I think it's just, rather than telling him, what I found really successful, both in my own journey and with my clients, is to model it. So really get this growth mindset work going, and let him be sort of like, that's interesting. Why are things different all of a sudden? Like, actually try to get him to be curious about it. Or I would model it first, and if he never gets curious, one day you could say to him, hey, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been working on, this new, mindset in the family, and, I just want to tell you about it. But I would model it first. Buy a bread maker. Yeah. No, I'm not buying a bread maker. This is like no sugar. Yeah. No flour. Erin said she's hungry. I know, Erin. Once I perfect banana bread, there will be a banana bread loaf on your doorstep. I love your positivity. It's contagious. I'm excited to get to work on changing my mindset. I love the saying, winning or learning, never losing. Need to make a sign. Yeah, we have one on our back door. I posted it to the back door. You're winning or losing. And then Shannon said, you're so right, Lisa. I noticed the other day my husband using a phrase. And then Wendy said, you're making me smile. Okay, let me ask, we've got about another minute. Is anybody ready to join the Hive? If you are, just type in yes, please. I'm just curious. And if you have any questions about the Hive, ask me that as well. And then we're going to do the drawing. And then if anybody wants coaching, I'm going to, I think we've been doing some coaching, but if anybody wants to ask more questions or go a little deeper, I'll stick around for another 15 minutes. I'll stick around till 11:45. But I just wanted to get some feedback on the Hive. No one's ever going to give me an award for sales. So I do my best to pitch it in a way that, really talks about what you're going to get. And again, I really hope everybody joins the Hive, because I just know what it can do for your family. And, that's why I charge $37 a month or $370 a year, is because I want to make it ridiculously affordable. I want everybody to have a chance to join. And I know not every single person in the world can. Some people are limited by finances, but I tried to make it such a low point that you're at least intrigued to give it a shot and see what it can do for your family. All right, we're at the 6:30 mark. So here's what we're going to do. Everybody who's still here, wait, don't do this until I say the count of 3. So on the count of 3, I want you all to type into the chat box. Let me explain all the rules first, because we're totally going to do this random. On the count of 3, I want everybody to type in growth mindset. Okay? So when I get to 3, type in growth mindset, and it's going to give everybody a number. And then what Erin's going to do is she is going to pick a number between 1 and 27. And wherever you fall on the list, if you're that number, you're going to win a 1-hour one-on-one coaching session with me. Okay, so we'll figure out who's going to win that, and we'll get in touch with you. Yep, so someone did it before I said 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to type in, I'm just going to type start now, and don't start yet, but Erin's just going to look below the start now. Okay, so ready? Again, you're going to type in growth mindset. You don't even spell it correctly. I just don't want to get confused with anything else anyone else has typed. Okay, so ready? 1, 2, 3. We'll give you a minute. Everybody just type it in. This is so fun. I just thought of this like an hour ago, and I'm so excited. This is so great. Keep going. Everybody type it in. Anybody else? Anybody like over on Facebook and multitasking? If you want to get in on the drawing, type growth mindset. Going once, going twice. Okay, now Erin. Oh wait, okay, sorry, more people doing it. Okay, keep going. Maybe it takes Zoom a minute to get everything popped in there. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Erin, what I want you to do now is type a number into the box below, and then we'll figure out who that is. Okay, Erin picked number 8. All right, who's number 8, Erin? Can you figure that out and let us know? I can't do the math. Okay, let's see. Who won? And the winner is Roxanne King. Roxanne, I'm so excited for you. Congratulations. Everybody give Roxanne a congratulations. Roxanne, that's awesome. Okay, Roxanne, what I want you to do is type in your email address for Erin so she can note that. Just type that in for her here. And yeah, okay, you know what? Just because I love you guys, let's do another one. Okay? So let's see. I'm going to pick a number this time because I didn't look at the list. So I'm going to go with number, we're going to give away a second one-on-one coaching call with me because I'm having so much fun. Oh my goodness. And then I'm going to tell you guys about the last couple of things, and then we'll get out of here. Okay. So I'm going to pick number, I'm going with 17. That's my son's basketball number on his jersey. So who's number 17? Erin, can you figure that out and tell us? Alyssa Sexton is number 17. All right, Alyssa, congratulations. That's so exciting. All right, we will get in touch. Roxanne and Alyssa. Alyssa, put your email address in for us, and you will get an email from us tomorrow with the details. Okay, so in closing, again, I'm going to take a couple more questions, but I just want to close this out for those of you that have to go. Thank you for joining me today. Number 2, stay tuned for next month's workshop. I'm going to do these workshops once a month. They're going to be $9 to grab a seat. Next month's workshop is so awesome. I can't even tell you guys. It's called Parenting Our Digital Kids to Success. We're going to talk about technology and the brain and rules and how to set things up and why we should take breaks. I am armed with just a boatload of information about this. I suspect what's going to happen is we're going to end up having part 1 and maybe part 2, because I may not be able to get through it all. But you're going to want to get a seat in next month's workshop. So we're going to get that out. Give us a couple days and we'll get the link out to all of you who want to get an early seat. And then I'm going to leave you with this quote from Dr. Dweck, whom I love and adore. She says, no matter what your ability is, effort is what ignites the ability and turns it into accomplishment. How good is that, right? No matter what your ability is, effort is what ignites it and turns it into accomplishment. God, I love that. I mean, how good is that? Okay, so I'm going to stick around until 1:45. Thank you guys so much for being here. It was such a treat to be with all of you today. And what an amazing community we formed in a short amount of time, right? I can't wait to go back and look at all the comments in the chat, because I was sort of scrolling through them while talking. And multitasking is the struggle. Hashtag is real for me. But I'm so glad that you all were here. Does anybody have any other questions or comments? I'll hang around for a couple minutes. If you need to sign off, go ahead. If you can stay, do. And I hope you all will join me next month. And I'll tell you what, I hope you'll invite a friend. If you know someone struggling with technology, we have lots of seats. We can take 1,000 people in a class. So do me a favor, or do yourself a favor, or your bestie a solid, and either treat somebody to a seat, or just let them know, like, hey, this was an amazing webinar last month. You should get in on this. Invite somebody to come along. I think it'd be a great gift for people. Your sister-in-law, your best friend, a couple girlfriends. So thank you, Shannon. Shannon said, the best use of my time tonight. That warms my heart. That's my real currency. Audra says, thank you for investing in our families. You're welcome, Audra. Diana says, thank you very much. Wendy said, thanks, Lisa, or also known as Wens, as I've been calling her. Bye, Wendy. Let's see, who is this? V30 said, great webinar. Can you do one specifically on strong-willed kids? Yes, I will mark that down. I have one coming. Some topics that I have scheduled are, or I have thought of, I'll probably survey you guys, but I wanted to do technology. I wanted to do sibling fighting, getting on the same page with your spouse, strong-willed kids. So I've got I plan to do one every month into infinity. So we've got a lot of topics that we can cover. Oh, Alyssa, are you here? I didn't see that you put your email address in for us. So before you leave, make sure you give us your email address. Or maybe you sent it to Aaron, I'm not sure. Oh, it's up further up. Great. Okay, I don't want you to lose your hour. Let's see. Someone said sibling fighting. Yeah, give me some feedback. Did you like the topics that I mentioned? Are there other things you'd like to see? I can survey you right here. You can just put it in the chat. Have you ever been able to give out training certificates for continuing education? I'm a daycare provider. Yes, Diana, if you put your email address in the chat for Aaron, we can make a certificate for you, absolutely. And if for some reason that slips off my radar, Diana, email us at support@thepeacefulparent.com and ask for the certificate, and I'm happy to get it for you. We've had other people ask us this, and we provide certificates. So absolutely happy to do that. And then come back next month, because next month is, boy, I am passionate. I could write a book about parenting our digital kids to success and how to create connection through electronics. And my kid, I might even have my son come on and give us his input on some things, which I think would be fun and great, because we're he I don't know what to say about it. He rolls his eyes at me sometimes, but he also appreciates that that we have rules and limits, and he understands brain development and how he needs to take a break. And V30, I'm excited for you to decrease the yelling in your house too. So maybe I should do a workshop on that, how to stop yelling. So I'm writing that down as the topics. Crystal, I saw your question. If you want to know more about that, why don't you send me an email at support@thepeacefulparent.com, and I can answer that for you one-on-one. What do you guys think about how to stop yelling? You like that? I'm getting a ton of yeses on that one. Okay, so that's good. Any other suggestions? Anything come to mind? Yeah, I think how to stop yelling would be a great one. So I think I'll add that to the master list. Let's see. I said I would include the TED Talk. I'm just taking some notes here. TED Talk. 2 people get one-on-one sessions. We need to get Diana the cert and anyone else who wants it. Okay. Well, I think that we're at the closing hour. Again, it was my pleasure to be with all of you today. I so hope you come back next month. We'll get this recording out. And again, if you're watching the recording, you have any feedback for me, you want to share your takeaways, I would love to hear from you. Just because you weren't here live doesn't mean I don't want to hear from you. I absolutely want to hear from you. So please send me an email. I don't care how many I get. I could get 1,000 emails and I would be tickled pink. So email me at support@thepeacefulparent.com. I want to hear from you. And when you send me an email, it helps the learning. So I've got some white bean chicken chili in the Instant Pot cooking away. I'm going to go feed my family dinner, and Erin's going to help me get this recording out. And I hope you guys have a great evening or morning wherever you are, and I'll talk to you next month. Take care.